And then I was fired within a week. And I remember having this conversation with good old Ralph, the VP. Did you think that this was the right thing to do to affirm these women in their new relationship? And I just go, because I'm a pretty witty person. So like wit was on full throttle. And I just like rip right back at him. I go, Ralph, I think those women needed affirmation then more than ever before. And it felt so good. Like I was like, I nailed that one. Like on the humanity test, I got an A. But so I was like really proud of myself, but also at the same time, I was like, I'm super fired now.
Welcome to The Intimate Philosopher, where philosophy meets intimacy and life's biggest questions finally feel at home. I'm Dr. Emma Smith. I'm a licensed professional counselor, certified sex therapist, and existential philosophy nerd, inviting you to join me for an after-hours conversation. This is a space to slow down, pour a glass of wine, or maybe a cup of tea, and explore the messy, beautiful intersections of meaning, connection, desire, and being fully human. This is the place for real conversations about the parts of life that don't fit neatly into a box. So, grab your glass, get comfy, and let's dive in. Hi, friends, and welcome back to The Intimate Philosopher. I met my next guest, Kyle, the way that you meet a lot of people now, through a screen. He'd posted something in a Facebook group, a piece of his own story, a megachurch pastor fired for evolving in how he viewed the LGBT community. And within hours, the comments on his post filled with condemnation, which was kind of surprising in the fact that, or at least it was surprising to me, given that it was a very secular Facebook group. But people who had never met him arrived to tell him exactly what they thought of him and his beliefs. Now, what struck me really wasn't the vitriol. Harsh words online are cheap and they are abundant. It was that all of these people missed the heart of his story. He'd evolved to love and welcome more people, and the church that employed him decided that that was unacceptable. And for a time, Kyle lost the entire structure that held his life together. So I thought that was really interesting, and I did what I do. I reached out to this stranger on the internet, and we talked, and I hit record. And what followed is a very different interview than any I've shared before. And I do mean that in the absolute best way. Because Kyle didn't arrive at his convictions from a pulpit or a seminary syllabus. He arrived at them at home with the help of his wife, who, helped him understand what he actually believed and who he actually was as a Christian, as a man, as a community member, family member, in all these beautifully different ways. And that's actually really the heart of this conversation: masculinity, vulnerability, and learning how to make space for growth within a relationship rooted in deep love. So please help me welcome my next guest, Kyle Reynolds. Kyle, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Emma.
Yeah. So, in the intro, I had explained to my listeners that you're a little bit of a different guest for us, because I don't know that I've ever necessarily just been, the woman who randomly reached out to a stranger on the internet and was like, "Hey, I just witnessed this unique experience." Well, actually, not so unique, but I just witnessed this experience. Would you like to come on the podcast and talk about it? And you said yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed our initial little quick conversation to get to know each other, and I could tell that you just want to have good faith dialogue with people, um, and that's ultimately what I want too, which is always why those internet trolls and stuff get, you're just like, can you just be like an honest, sincere, fair person, in your dialogue? And It just baffles me how people lose the plot. They lose their humanity. They forget they're talking to an actual person.
Oh, that's so deeply true. So, like, what is it about the internet that just allows people to really indulge some of the worst
Yeah.
qualities, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a there's a disembodying factor to it, right? That like takes us out of our own body and then I think it's compounded by that you know that it's a disembodying experience because um oftentimes people will make caricatures of another person. So it's like, I'm no longer Kyle Reynolds to them. I'm this liberal, guy with Trump derangement syndrome and all. Like they just have this stacking list of like this is who this person is. They're not actually even talking to me. They're just talking to a caricature of me, and they're not even sharing their own actual honest viewpoints. They're just sharing talking points and memes, and so the dialogue can quickly devolve into this like shooting memes back and forth at each other as opposed to just honest, sincere dialogue. Where at the end of it, when I restate what you said, that I'm genuinely wondering, like, is this what you meant when if I rephrased it? And I don't think oftentimes on the internet we take that step to or even in person to ask that question of ourselves. Am I framing this person's point or their question or their critique of me in such a way that when I reframed it, they would say, "Yeah, that's what I meant." So
Mhm.
no wonder we can't even have any semblance of an honest dialogue because we're starting with not even talking to the actual person; it's a character, and we're not even using our own sincere thoughts about it.
Yes, yes, I would agree with that. Okay, so I had teased what it was that you had shared, in the intro, but I didn't actually tell them
Oh,
what it
okay,
was. So I'm gonna
yeah.
let you tell what was the thing that you hurt a lot of people's feelings. What did you say?
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to. It's just my life, so I didn't know that was really offensive, but okay, but yeah, when I was an evangelical conservative pastor, mega church pastor for like 15 plus years, so I was that guy, like on the video screens and, I mean, it's full time. That's all I did. I have multiple degrees from conservative seminaries. And then I don't know, 10 plus years ago, um, I started having changes of beliefs. And one of those was that I just could no longer hold the idea that our LGBTQ plus um, brothers and sisters and family and neighbors are not affirmed and included in this thing that I call the good news. And I just couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't toe that line. It just didn't. I didn't like the way it was making me become and show up in the world. So I got fired for it immediately, and so I just shared that story real quick online, just to be like, hey, if anyone like wants me as a guest. This is my quick synapse story, like a one little part of who I am. It's not even entirety. And then people got real butthurt about it. So yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting, and I think one of the things that was so fascinating when we were talking is that, you know, like, when you said that and you said, "I started, having this change in beliefs," I'm like, "Oh, so, like, you must have, broken into the church and hung rainbow flags off of everything
Yeah.
and painted the church steps, the colors of the pride flag," but apparently that's not actually what happened.
No, yeah, not because I was genuinely like in process. I wasn't like some, as they like to use their vernacular, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like I was a full blown sheep, guys. So but yeah, so like how it came to a head was I had two friends that were former interns in this ministry that I was a part of, and they had started a relationship, two women, and and I just thought that was really cool, and so I liked the relationship status on Facebook, and then I commented "totes adorbs," which is I think it's like a Gen Z way of saying totally adorable.
There you
Um,
go. Yeah.
so I was really proud of myself as a 40, almost 48-year old. But nonetheless, I got called into the one of the VP's offices like the next day, 2 days later, I think it was, and then I was fired within a week. Um, and I remember having this conversation with good old Ralph, the VP, and he was like, "Did you think that this was the right thing to do to affirm these women in their new relationship?" And I just go, because I'm a pretty witty person, so like wit was on full throttle, and I just like rip right back at him. I go, Ralph, I think those women needed affirmation then more than ever before, and it felt so good. Like I was like, I nailed that one. Like on the humanity test, I got an A. But so I was like really proud of myself, but also at the same time, I was like, I'm super fired now. Like, so because you probably don't want to, you know, clap back at the VP, but but I did mean what I said, and I was terminated, and most of my friends of colleagues over the many years, 15 years, I never talked to again. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Wow. I don't think that I mean, you've told me this story before, but in this moment, as I'm hearing it this time, I'm thinking about, you know, the the whole idea of doing doing the right thing, doing the thing that you believe in, um, and living these I mean, I'm imagining that had to be painful consequences to lose a community of people that the day before loved you.
Yeah, but you know what? Yes, losing the relationships, people that I didn't think it would matter to, that it was a deal breaker for them. I mean, in that culture, we shoot our wounded. That's definitely how that plays out. But I think the hardest part was, you know, being a pastor was like my identity. Absolutely. 100%. Really unhealthy. And so when the emails stopped coming through, when phone calls and texts, like when I realized people didn't need me anymore, that I think that's when I got legitimately depressed. And then looking back too, like I had so this department I was a part of, it shut down like shortly thereafter. I had a friend that quit in protest. It just like totally imploded. Um, but so I still continue on with this text thread with these three other coworkers of mine, that these three ladies. Our text thread's called Just the Girls and Kyle. And they're like it's been I think 10 years, and we text almost every day still this day. They're just dear friends of mine. Anyway, years later, watching their like lives just go on to just really great stuff, and they're like flourishing and thriving, and I'm still like sad and in my like in my grieving phase, and like I can't believe that happened. And it dawned on me that like, oh, the reason why is because um they left a culture where they're no longer oppressed, and so they like went out into the world. They're like, oh, people take us seriously because we're, even though we're women, and and as a well articulate white male, there's nothing more celebrated in that culture. Like I was just a rock star for being that guy, right? And I didn't realize how much privilege I had. And so it was humbling to realize that like the reason why I miss this is because and grieve it so much is because it rewarded me so much.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That's so fascinating. And I love that you're still in contact with those people too. That's incredible. So let's go back to, I mean, so that's the end, like, well, that's not the end of the story. That's the end of that part of the story. But how did you go from being fully bought into the faith and the belief system that you were in and start to shift, and start to have this, I don't know, it almost sounds like there had to have been a space for you to even be open to considering a lesbian relationship to be totes adorbs. Like, that probably didn't happen in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there were a few things. I think just I don't put nearly as much weight on theology in general anymore, but from a theological perspective, I think the first thing I took notice of was that um, I started studying a lot of non-white theologians, and
Mm.
and there's a lot, and it dawned on me like, oh, up until this point of 15 years of ministry, like probably 99% of how I understood God was entirely through a lens of white upper class men. Um, and those came in the form of authors and pastors and speakers and theologians and professors and so but the Bible is not full of white upper class men. So like maybe I'm missing something. And then once you pull that thread though, like then it starts to be like, okay, what else am I missing? Because that seems super obvious to me now. Like there's got to be other stuff out there. And that was actually really exciting at first to be like, it didn't feel scary because I just was like, okay, like that what else is out? It felt like an adventure, you know? And then
Mhm.
I think simultaneously my wife's cousin is gay and he was at the time in a really serious relationship and and so my wife and I were just chatting in the kitchen and she's like, you know, they're getting pretty serious, like I bet you they're going to ask you to officiate soon and that turned into this like huge argument between us and I like posed like every, you know, classic theological position and I stood for the truth and I was like, you know, like I would have got A from good old Ralph on that in that moment. But Laura, she's just always been ahead of me and she didn't like she while I made this big great theological thing, she just appealed to my humanity and she just goes like, you know, you're gonna like see them every few months for like the rest of your life. Like if you make that decision, like that's you, but like I just want you to know like that will probably really hurt them and you're going to have to face the consequences of that for forever. Like do you I just want you to know that that's how it's going to play out and you do care about them and so she just was like appealing to my humanity and I think I don't think I realized how much I had outsourced my humanity to my religion. And that was some serious red flags that started coming up for me.
Wow. Gosh. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you to your wife.
Yeah, yeah.
um, and thank you to you for letting that come in, right? Because like
Mhm.
that, I can only imagine that that would have been a very difficult place to be in on that tipping point of being like, oh, yeah, wait a second, and like
Yeah.
just being in that moment.
Yeah, because I wasn't, like, surprised when I got fired. I mean, I'd seen that happen to other people. So when you are part of this group that, belonging is hinged on your belief,
Hmm.
like, you typically are, decent not incentivized to, to pull those threads, right? To ask those questions because you've seen it the consequences in people around you, and
Yeah.
you know how it's gonna end, right?
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
grateful that Laura that my relationship with her was not being threatened. That she's always just seen me like
Yeah.
better than any religion can.
Oh, that's so lovely. I love when men are just like, just so openly expressive about their love and their appreciation for their wives. I think that's so important to hear in the world, and to give. I mean, yes, to give women this idea of like, oh my God, they do exist, but also to have permission given to men to say, hey, there's no threat here.
Mhm.
Right? You can openly express appreciation and love for the person that you married, without sacrificing your own masculinity.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. So so what are you up to now? So like what's the story now? So like you leave ministry. Do you leave the church entirely? Do you find a new faith? Are you a yoga teacher now? Like what happened?
I mean, teaching hot yoga would be actually really awesome. But no, I let's see. So when I left, let's see, what did we do? Oh, I went into we ended up oh I worked for a year at Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank as their volunteer coordinator. And I could share stories about that too, but I've always when I was working for Seattle's Union Gospel Mission, the place I got fired from, that was deeply ingrained into a lot of urban issues too. So like refugee resettlement, helping sex trafficking survivors, homelessness, addiction. So I'm pretty well versed in those things too. If I ever finish my doctorate, that's what my final paper is going to be on. But after Issaquah Food Bank, then we decided to buy a business. Um, and after that's kind of been a year, so I'd licked my wounds. So we got this like little fridge magnet business, and it just grew a ton, which is really cool. Like our magnets ended up being in like every major airport and gift shops all over the country, and two, it was like it was nice for the ego, to have a win. Because I was feeling super insecure um and just yeah, sad, but but it was nice to chalk up a win, and we had a couple employees, and it was that was just a really and I got to work with my boys. Like my oldest is his first job was making magnets for us, and my youngest, we set up a little booth for him in this arts fair in our city in Sammamish, and he got to sell them, and I got to teach him all about margin and how much the booth cost. Okay, so we had to deduct that, and this is your profit, so this is what I'm going to pay you. And anyway, so it just turned out to be 5 years of just owning this small business and kind of just purposely being quiet and not trying to be the well articulate, loud male that gets celebrated, but just be a human being and try to figure out what that looks like, and also support my wife a ton too. Meanwhile, her career was just like flourishing. Um, so uh seeing her like just being she had been the pastor's wife for 15 years, and thankfully, she's just a wildly independent woman, so she just wasn't going to bake cookies and bring it to the church picnic anytime soon. But she but to see her flourish in her career, it was really cool too. So that was kind of the last 5 years or so. So that's why like this summer I got some time off, and we'd sold the business, and I substitute teach taught for a little bit because I thought, oh, that might be kind of fun to do. um and so summer I have off, and so my wife's like, "You should try to put yourself out there again and share stuff about your life because you're pretty good. And it's nothing wrong with being a well articulate white guy. Just don't make that the whole source of who you are anymore." So yeah,
Yeah. And then you stumbled into that Facebook group.
yeah, yeah. I was like, "Oh, that's right. I remember. There's nothing more hateful than Christian love. Look at these guys. Haven't missed these
Oh.
guys much."
Let me pause the episode for a second because I want to ask you something. When is the last time that your partner looked at you like the person they married and not the co manager of your household? If you're running your life together flawlessly, the schedules, finances, the kids, all of it, but somewhere along the way you became project partners instead of lovers, I have a name for that. I call it roommate mode. And it's not a sign that anything is wrong with you or your relationship, but it is a sign that the exact skills that make you excellent at everything else are working against you in this one area. I'm teaching how to break it live and one night only with a couple of friends on August 14th. The spots are limited and I'm not recording this one. So if you want in, DM me the word reclaim or click the link in the show notes and I'll get you all set up before it fills. It's been really interesting because I grew up Catholic outside of New York. And so like a very Italian Catholic, which is a very I'm kind of like, was I raised Catholic? Because I know I went to the school, I had the ugly uniform and like all that kind of stuff. But like I feel like my family got very into it's like the cultural side of the religion, right? And like the feast days of certain saints and like, Christmas has like, there must be these 12 recipes that are done every year because you'll make Jesus cry if you don't cook these, dishes on his birthday, right? Like that kind of thing. But less on the, like, when people talk about, like, Catholic guilt or religious trauma, which I see a ton of down here in Tennessee and have worked with people, including Catholics. So I'm not trying to discount that, but it is kind of interesting because I didn't grow up with that, and it wasn't until I got down here that I started realizing, like, oh my gosh, like, when people talk about a lake of fire or this like fear of their soul. Like they're not being literary with that. It is genuine. And so that has been something, I work with a lot of conservative people in my practice. And sometimes people are like, why would they ever come see you? And it's like, because they're not, some of them have actually said, because I'm not going to run into you at church. Which might actually be my favorite. But also this idea of like, well, you're not going to judge me. And when you said that thing about, we shoot our wounded, that just clicked for me. I was like, oh, like it's not that you don't want to, it might be that you can't.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they bake in to the belief structure. Um, if you doubt the belief structure, then you're like giving a foothold to Satan. Or, I mean, they have these ready-made like things to shut down any questioning or doubt that you'll be on a slippery slope, and um, that you need to. Gosh, I've forgotten most of them, which is probably a really healthy thing. But that you need to like fix your mind on God and not on the other anything else, um, and that those are all just ways to keep people in line, and
Mhm.
even like um, I got pastor friends that are affirming, and but they work in non-affirming churches, and the reason why is because they know what will happen to them. They'll lose their job, and I get it. Like, you got to put food on the table for your kids. Like, that's noble work. Um, but I think it's a really sad environment where for all the ways that they brag about how people grow here in this building, and people join a community of faith and you'll grow, but you're not actually allowed to change. Like, you could grow within their confines and you can ask questions as long as you get to their answers, but the pastor for sure can't change. um and if he does, I mean, normally he's out of a job. And so
Mhm.
I just think that and yet at the same time, I think by nature, we as humans, we do change. Like, we grow. And I mean, that's what's been the coolest part of the 23 years with Laura. Like, I've known her since 5th grade. We've changed so much, and yet we just keep choosing each other. And every time we do, it gets better, and I have some really great friendships now in my life that they choose me too, that, like, I don't have to pretend to believe something. They can just they see me, and I can't even tell you how safe that makes me feel
Yeah.
for people that aren't going to cast me aside, and that they just choose me.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and safety, I mean, from like the psychology world, like safety is one of the things that allows you to go and make, you have to have room to make mistakes if you're going to grow and create something new. And so I love what you're saying about, continuing to choose one another. And, what is it, what are the things that I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but since you brought it up and it was so beautiful, um, what are the things that you and Laura do to help you keep choosing each other? Not the big things, right? Like those little like micro moments. What has helped keep you going?
I mean, when COVID hit, we started walking together. Um, because you couldn't really do a whole lot else, and that just stuck. And so, I mean, we were on a walk last night. We probably walked together probably 4 nights a week. And there's something about, going from face to face to side by side that helps me a ton, at least, open up. And the amount of problems we've solved and situations with our kids and things that, like, I don't wanna bring up, but, after mile 3, it's like, "Okay, I'll just share this with her," and, it just takes me longer. Um, and don't get me wrong, there's been times where, like, we started a walk together and we got home separately because we were pissed. But even those were, like, still a step forward, you know? So that I think, um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest one that sticks out.
I love that. I love that. Well, and even it's not it's so interesting 'cause, a lot of times people think that the marriages that are the strongest or the relationships that are the strongest are the ones where there's no conflict,
Oh,
right?
no.
And it's right. And that's not true. We actually know that conflict and friction is a healthy part of having two fully realized people doing life together. It's actually very difficult, right?
Mhm.
But this idea of like, can you repair? Can you go on the walk together anyway? Right? Can you be vulnerable even if you have to say the hard thing? And then over the years, can we even walk separately and trust that we're both gonna end up back at home.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like, we laugh so hard together, but,
Yeah.
I think the darkest moments have been looking back, like, the most important. Like, we're gonna celebrate 23 years here in 2 days, right? August 1st. Um, and I think, like, one of the worst moments was right after, so I was a before I during my ministry career, one of the things I did was I was actually a church planter. So we went to try to start a church. And,
Okay.
um, and that was during the recession, so starting a nonprofit during the recession is, like, probably not the wisest decision. So we ran out of money after a few years, had to close it. It was like just a crushing loss of a dream. We'd worked towards this. I felt like I let people down. Um, and then her career was starting to, like, take off too. Like, she had gotten this master's in education. Turned out teaching was not for her at all. Although, man, we have the biggest, we just love teachers so much. And the amount of stuff they put up with is incredible. But nonetheless, not for her. So she got into corporate and just started, like, taking off. So I'm getting more and more insecure. And I'm starting to, like, nitpick at, like, sorry, I shouldn't use that word. She started to pick at, like, things she's not doing right and she's not appreciating me. We land in therapy together. And I'm bringing this stuff up at counseling too, because I'm, like, ready to go, witty guy. Right. And, so I'm firing at her, like, you didn't even say thank you for all the dishes I did and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just, the whole time, I'm just scared. Like, I don't want to talk about the real thing. Right. And so, the counselor, which, good ones do, like, she's, like, starting to ask me harder questions, and she finally just goes, "Do you think Laura needs you?" And, I go, I go, no. And she goes, "Can you tell her that?" Is I was like, "Oh, fuck." Like, because it's to your point, right? Like, we just say all the other stuff, but we're so scared to death to say the actual thing, and so I just turned to her, I said, "I I don't think you need me, and I think when you're gonna figure that out, you're gonna leave." And, and she goes it was, like, dead quiet for a little bit in the room, and then, classic Laura, she goes, "You're right, I don't need you, but I do want you in my life, so can we just, like, figure this out?" And, and it was just, like, a really, like, really necessary breakthrough for us, um, to just say the real thing. And I don't
Yeah.
know if I think I would say, in generally speaking, you probably know way better than I do, but, like, I think guys have trouble with that, getting to that actual thing that gets us to a vulnerable place that we don't actually know the answer and we're scared to death to hear the answer. But that's also where the breakthrough is usually relationally.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yes. What a great example of that too. And thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that because you're right. I mean, it is really hard for men to get there, but it's also like not men's fault for being bad at going there because if you think about it, one is I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second because it's so important. One of the things is that uh, we as women, as like actually as people in relationship, the things that we want and we value and we say that we want in our partners and in relationship today are very different than the things that we raise men to do and be able to do and be. So, like most women, most people, because men will say this about their partners too. I want somebody who is loving and interested in me and like invested in our life together and is, not going to judge me and like those types of things. Right. And so we raise women to be emotionally attuned and we talk about caregiving and we talk about being very socially minded. And then when we raise little boys, and you have kids, so like, and I think this is starting to shift, but definitely like probably when you were growing up and I was growing up, because like we're basically the same age, like it was this, boys don't cry, don't be a sissy, all of these other things. And Terry Real is one of my favorite thought leaders around working with men, and he says like we literally beat the qualities that we want in our men as adults out of them as little boys, and we wonder why. It's not that men have less capacity, it's that we just changed the rules,
Mm.
right? So of course it was going to be hard for you to say, I feel like you don't need me, because that's like, I mean, we might as well just strip you naked while you say it too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
That's how it felt.
So, yeah. Oh gosh. Wow. And so how did that change your relationship after that?
Oh, yeah, that was really needed. Desperately.
Yeah.
I think it at least the way a counselor explained it, like you guys are trying to make this thing look like every other relationship, and it's not even every other relationship. You're trying to make it look like this like perfect Christian relationship thing, which is actually full of patriarchy, toxic masculinity, and and false vulnerability, and all these things, right? Spiritual bypassing, and she didn't say all that stuff. But looking back now, I'm like realize like yeah, we were actually trying to make it something super unhealthy, and we were trying to make it a reaction to our parents,
Mm,
because we didn't want a lot of the elements in the models our parents gave us to be in ours. So ours was a reaction to that, and it long story long, I think it just allowed us to start imagining, okay, what does this look like just for you and I, like, and we can just agree together. This is what we want it to look like, and so it stopped looking like this like shift to like intimacy started looking more like mutually respecting each other and me cheering for her and having more vulnerable conversations more often, not trying to like, and just having better tools to to get to those vulnerable conversations, like I used to always use you know terms that like you always do this or you never do that, which is really defeating for someone to hear, and it's also not even accurate. She does sometimes thank me for washing the dishes, and and it's not even about the damn dishes anyway. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I think it really set us onto a new charted a new path that made us closer. And I've always seen about her too, like whenever I am vulnerable with her, she's all like I could feel her even physically getting closer to me in those moments, like and that's ultimately all that I want anyway, is just I just want to be close to her. So if that was nice to be like, okay, that's a surefire way to do it. It's a win for everyone.
yeah. Oh, that's so lovely. And congratulations on your anniversary, because that is, I
Thanks.
mean, it's hard to well, it's actually not hard to stay married. My dad one time told me, he was like, "It's really easy to stay married, just don't get divorced." I was like, "Oh, all right." Um, and I really I'm about to find out if he listens to my podcast, actually. Um, but, there's a way to, yes, technically stay married, but to have the type of relationship that the 2 of you have, and it sounds like you have learned how to let each other be full, whole, realized people. That's so difficult, and that's so rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So is marriage coaching is couples retreats in your future? Like, what are you
Oh, we used to do a ton of premarital counseling, like
Yeah.
a ton of it. We've talked about it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe someday. Um,
Maybe
our
I'll just
kids
have
are
you
like,
both on one day.
yeah, yeah. I'd love to hear what she's like. That would be funny. But, yeah, no, it's going well. I don't know, it's nice to feel like you're past that point of like, okay, like we've gone through all that stuff. Like it's like anytime any issue does come up, it's like, well, we've been through way worse. So that's always like encouraging because you're like, we can get through this, we can get through anything kind of deal.
Yes. Well, and that's so important, but you don't get to have that conversation if you don't allow yourselves to confront the bigger thing, right? Like, if you have no conflict ever, you don't get to have that conversation. So, I
Yeah.
thank you so much for saying that because I don't think we think about it that way.
And then
So
I think we too, oftentimes, it's really easy to believe it'll always be like this. Like when you're midst of the darkness and it's really hard, you start to feel like it's always going to be this way, and then you start looking for an escape hatch. Um,
mm,
but to just imagine and trust that there is maybe a way out of this. I'm not anti-divorce guy at all, um, but I think there's a lot of really really valid and important reasons for people to separate and no longer be together. So I'm not advocating for that in the slightest, but I am really grateful for the depth that we have together.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. There are plenty of reasons why people, should get divorced. And also there are plenty of divorces that happen because people get lost in the mess that is marriage, right? And
Yeah.
and just can't find their way out. For sure. Okay, so I could just talk to you all day. Here's my favorite question. I love asking people this. What do you wish that people asked you to talk about more?
Okay. Um, I did. Okay, this is new. I did. I did a a mushroom trip, a high dose mushroom trip. Uh,
Okay.
with my two closest friends. Down to Encinitas together. Uh, and it was. I had to do all this pre work and post work. It was very therapeutical. Is that's not a word, but you know it is. And it was deeply transformational. But one of the things I realized that it confronted for me was that religious trauma. So maybe this will come make a full circle for me and for the listener. But like the vision I saw or whatever was this one of the first memories I had in Bible college. So this is before 3 degrees and 15 years of ministry and all this stuff, right? And it was like one of the first days on campus. I was so excited about being there. They had this big revival service thing because it was a Pentecostal conservative evangelical school, Northwest up in Kirkland, Washington, and they're asking people to receive the gift of tongues and so I'm like all on board, like, because I just want to fit in, but also like I just want anything God has for me. I'm like locked, like, so I go up there and people are like laying hands on me and praying and I'm like, yeah, God, give me whatever you like. I totally 100% in. And like a minute goes by, nothing happens. Couple minutes, I'm starting to feel like hands come off of me and go elsewhere to pray for other people, and still nothing's happening. Um, and finally, the last hand gets lifted off of me, and I kind of like I'm crying because as you notice in this podcast, it doesn't take much for me to cry. But and I awkwardly open my eyes. I'm like there alone on stage with some other people are being prayed elsewhere, but kind of just by myself. So I kind of like stupidly go and sit back down on the front pew, and I just remember very um clearly like how stupid I felt and then I'm not enough. And I'm this like second tier thing for God. And looking back, I think that informed so much of my ministry for people is I didn't think they were enough. And so I work and work and work and trying to address all their needs and because inside I actually didn't think they were enough either. And it deeply informed how I cared for our boys early on, those first few years. I didn't think they were enough. Um and they were not going to be okay. And so that was just that going through that therapy that was it was just wonderful to finally like realize that like I actually am enough. I'm okay. Um regardless of what I think about something that no one knows about anyway, which is God. Um
Yeah.
and that people are okay and my kids are like Sawyer and Lincoln are okay. They're going to be just fine. And so to live from that point of health and healing as opposed to the scarcity and fear
Mhm.
and insecurity has been a complete game changer for me. And I'm proud of myself and and I see every day how much it changed. I got the little journal entry. Oh, it's underneath a let's hold my phone up right now to talk to you, but I got what I journaled about that whole trip. It was just really important. So I'm grateful for that.
Wow. Yeah, so when you were on that trip, did you actually, like, go back to that moment, or did you just have this new awakening and
No, I felt like
understanding?
I was actually there. Or
Oh,
maybe I was
wow.
like watching myself. So
Yeah.
which maybe that was more part of it because I just wanted to sit next to that kid and be like that, just this scared little, junior in college and just be like, you're gonna be all right. Like you're gonna make through with this. This is gonna suck for a long time, but like
Mm.
you're gonna be okay. And maybe call up that girl that you met in fifth grade. But
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Oh gosh. That's, I mean, that's so I think people don't realize like when we say it about going back and talking to that, that younger self or past self or whatever, people and don't get me wrong, like, I remember learning about this for the first time and, I'm from New Jersey, like, I'm not like a soft, fluffy person, right? Especially when I was younger and I was like, I'm not when am I gonna go I'm gonna go back and talk to her, like, what am I gonna say, you know? And then you get through something like that and you have that experience. Mine was in when they make you do training for EMDR, they also make
oh
you
yeah.
do EMDR and you're like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was gonna get my emotional butt kicked in front of a
Yeah.
room full of strangers." Like, yes, absolutely, let's go process that trauma from 4th grade that I didn't know was traumatic, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
And then you realize how powerful it is, and you just leave like, literally a different person for having revisited that past version of yourself. So that's so cool that you had that. I've never heard that about religion, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we should probably be doing that more around that."
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people going through some religious trauma, I think. I wasn't the only one in that revival service, right? I mean, um,
No.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, but
that's
I agree though. Like, I'm so grateful for it. But I've had people be like, "Was it so cool going on that trip?" And I'm like, "Dude, it was awful. Like, it was like I'm really grateful for it, but I don't want to ever do it again because I think I got what I wanted from it, and I'm good, man. Like, I don't want to, it was just, it wasn't fun. So if you
Yes.
micro, I'm sure that's fun, but man, this was not fun.
Yeah, but that's really cool that that you were able to do that and have that experience because you can't is that one of the ones I feel like there's some where, like, you kinda know what you're gonna confront, and then there's other ones that they're like, "Good luck." and what happens, happens. So, was yours more planned? Did you know that that was what you were gonna work on?
No, the he's not he didn't wouldn't call him he wouldn't call himself a guide, but I forget what he would call himself. He obviously after I drank the tea, you got maybe like a 10-minute window. So I laid down on this bed and he had some music playing and he could like adjust the soundtrack, I think, depending on how I'm feeling. And then his wife was doing Reiki. Which I don't even know how I don't know, it worked. I don't know anything about it, but but it felt like to me this gentle but firm invitation to these different scenes of my life. And like the trip was like, "Hey, would you like to go here?" And so but I felt like I still could say yes or no. And when I said yes, I'm like, "Okay, I don't know what this feeling is attached to, but let's go find out." And I was like, "Okay, I'm nervous, um, but it was this very strong invitation. Is how it felt."
Wow, I love that, and, I love that there was some feeling of, "Yes, I can consent to this."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because my
which is
buddy
great.
Evan, he would like he wants to go try again because he would like be like, I gotta pee. And so you get up from the bed and like, but it was he looking back, he's admitted that he's like, I didn't want to go there. And then my friend Ryan got like he was a frog on a lily pad for like 2.5 hours, which I'm like, fuck you, Ryan. That sounds awesome.
I would like to sign up for the frog experience next time, like, yeah, what's that like? That's amazing. Well, I mean, that might be the best sales pitch I've ever heard for that um experience, because a lot of the times people get a little squirrely when you ask them about it, so, like, actually
Yeah.
laying that out. But thank you. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for that. Oh my gosh. Is there anything that, if somebody's out there who's listening, and I'm cheating because I know people write in, and religious trauma is definitely something that people have been hurting from. If you could leave them with something, just, hey, like, what do I'm in this place. I don't know where I'm going or my way through. What would you say to them?
Um, I think I felt like it was no longer like deconstruction and no longer like angsty. Maybe I should say less angsty. And it felt more like healing and wholeness when I didn't feel this reaction to reject everything that I believed and everything that I once thought about and every experience I had. I mean, because there's parts of those 15 years, like I actually really, really miss the sense of community. I think churches do community incredibly well. I think it being linked to belief is problematic, but man, you got people like bringing over dinners when after you have a baby, and you like added to the prayer list, and it's just like that's really wonderful and beautiful stuff. And if you when you start feeling like you're a Richard Rohr quote is to transcend and include it.
Hmm.
When you're allowed to integrate and celebrate the parts that were good and helpful while discerning what is no longer helpful. And I mean that specifically, helpful and not helpful. I don't longer use the terms of other ways you could frame it. I think you're getting to a better spot. And the more I can do that, the better I like myself in the mirror. I don't want to be another reaction to something that happened to me. I just want to be me. And that means including the good and discerning through the bad and expanding my capacity to love the world.
Oh.
So I guess when it comes to like Christians, maybe the framing that helps me a little bit was um because they got that, like you said earlier, they got that whole heaven and hell thing draped over them. Like if I get this wrong, which is so messed up, that I'm in eternal fires forever. I would just say to that person that's starting this journey, if God is like Jesus, you're gonna be okay.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. I've never heard it put that way, but it's how simple and beautiful.
And if it's a different religious trauma outside of that sect, I would just say you're okay.
I mean, I've actually I've heard plenty of people who are not Christians, right? Whether it's Jewish, Buddhist, and they're like, Jesus sounds like a great guy. It's like it's the rest of that religion that sometimes gives us pause, but like I never actually hear too much direct criticism of Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
um yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Kyle, like can people find you? I don't even like what are you up to? Can people follow you? Are you going to have an do you have an Instagram where you like post your insights or anything like that yet?
Yeah, my wife to maybe start one just a couple weeks ago, so so
Okay.
it's Instagram with, like, a whole 4 videos on it, but I'm trying to add content, and it's, Not Quite Compassion is the handle, so, NOT, not quite, QUITE, and then compassion.
Amazing. Well, we will put that in the show notes and I will absolutely go follow you and see what else you come up with because that is I think you have a lot of wisdom and just a way of expressing your beliefs and your thoughts that is so beautiful and so needed, particularly right now. So
Thanks.
you're welcome. Not to give you an assignment, but also like if you would like to put more of you out in the world, I think that'll be a really good thing. And I have a feeling Laura will agree with me, even though we haven't met. I feel like she's my friend. So,
Thanks, Emma, that means a lot.
yeah, absolutely. Well, listeners, I feel like we all have a new bestie in Kyle. And so please go check out the show notes. And, in the meantime, I just hope that you keep on with that messy business of being human. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me for this after hours conversation. If something in today's episode made you pause, get curious, or see yourself a little more clearly, share it with a friend and keep that conversation going. Until next time, keep exploring that messy, beautiful space between meaning and being human. I'll see you next time.